What is up?
Okay. All right, we're live. This is week 5, our trade show. We had our bye week last week, so we took it off. We're back. Quarter of the season, pretty much through the gates. Brian, what jumps at you right at the gate?
From the quarter season, I think Anthony Richardson's been a nice find for me. If I didn't get Jalen Hurts, I normally had Anthony Richardson, so I am happy about that. Unfortunately, you have both of them in our league together, which you're doing quite well
I do. I was just looking at Fantasy Pros. I think he's 4th in points per game.
Yeah, he's doing pretty well. Yeah, you were mentioning the risk with the 2 running quarterbacks, and I was like, I would love that. But yeah, I mean, I think that's probably my biggest standout that I was into. I thought one that I don't know yet about was Derrick Henry. I thought he would still do well. He's very much if the Titans are winning, he does well. If the Titans are losing, he does not. So everyone's tied in that division at 2-2, so it could go any which way. So that one I'm a little confused on, but the running back position as a whole is just a mess. So
it's kind of always a mess. I know. Yeah, you've been trying to pimp out Henry. So Henry's we were talking about buy low, sell high, or sell low, sell high. Is Henry what would he be?
I think he's just a hold. I don't, with that division being how it is, it's just going to be if it's a matchup where you expect them to win, he could have your prototypical Henry game where he rushes 25 times, 100 yards and a touchdown. Tajay Spears has taken a lot more pass work, which is scary, but I just feel like you're not going to get much value for him if you try to sell him, and he could go off. You never know. But what about you for kind of your hits and misses so far?
I've been okay. I don't focus on the hits as much as like the key guys I avoided, right? The guys I was pre-fading, right? Because that's where you can get screwed, right? So beginning of the year, I was like, no Barkley, no Josh Jacobs. Who else? Oh, the other running backs I didn't like. Just any of those guys who are kind of one-year wonders or couldn't be, haven't been healthy. I just wanted no part of. So that's been great. Rookie wide receivers I liked, but I got stuck with JSN everywhere, and he hasn't been any good.
That's a good thing.
Flowers looks great. Addison's pretty solid. We'll see if Quinn Johnson gets the work more in, but I'm crushing my fantasy league, so pretty happy so far. I was thinking, these dogs. I like to look at I like to look at the season quadrants, right? Like 4 games, because football is just so unpredictable. It's hard to really, predict too far down the road. I was looking at some teams over the next 4 games that just have like great schedules, for players to target. The Pack, the Chiefs, and the Bears really stood out to me.
So for Packers, you like Aaron Jones, Watson, Dobbs? Like who do you?
Watson. Oh yeah, Watson's probably got to be one of the biggest buy lows of the season, right? Because he's got that 2nd-year stud. Jordan Love's legit. He's going to slide into that wide receiver 1 spot there. We already got the touchdown in his first game without any snaps. He's a guy he's probably my number 1 target out there.
Yeah, I have him in a few leagues, and it's just kind of a hold. He's been frustrating with the hammy. But have you decided on any of the Chiefs wide receivers yet, or are you still just Kelsey or die?
Yeah, I mean, you just can't trust them. I remember I was looking at the Sunday night game. I was looking at guys to that are fade, and they pretty much all get about 30, 40 yards a game. Nobody's getting a lot of targets. It's just, Mahomes is a communist, right? He's throwing. Yeah, he's going to spread the field or hit Kelsey. But Pacheco's the guy. He looked great against the Jets. And their schedule coming up, the next 4 games that the Chiefs play are all terrible defenses, not great teams. I think they're going to keep leaning on him. He's just going to be pounded in for touchdowns. If you're looking for a running back, a buy low, because he hasn't been that great this season, I think Pacheco's about to go off.
He went off this past week, right?
He had that 50-yard touchdown run.
Yeah. So, I mean, that kind of leads us to, I feel like with fantasy, most people realize the buy low, sell high, but I do think you can almost zig when everyone's zagging of like, all right, who can you buy low, or like who can you sell in a buy low situation, or who can you buy in a sell high situation? I think Pacheco is a pretty good example of that. Of he just went off in week 3, but some people may be trying to get off of him just due to the volatility. But it seems like you're trying to keep buying.
Yeah. I mean, like, what would you even quantify him as? He's not really a buy low, right? But he's not really a buy high. Yeah, I guess he's just a buy future high.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
So yeah,
I agree with that. Like, I think a few that stick out to me are like, it's the people who isn't, for me, it's like not the brand names, like Kyron Williams and A-Chain to me at the running back position, both just look great. And they, or H-N, I
nobody
think
knows.
how you're supposed to say it now, but like Mostert didn't look good last week. And I think H-N, I just think it's going to keep going up. And he touched the ball 8 times, 8 carries for 100 yards. Like, he doesn't need a full workload to be good. I think that's a buy high opportunity. And then if people are still not believing in Kyron Williams, he's getting the whole load, like all of the running back work there. I don't like the backups are nobody's really, no offense, but like I just think that's another, if someone doesn't value him at least an RB2, like RB2, I mean like 13 to 20 in running back ranks, like I would buy him.
Yeah, I agree with Kyron Williams. Yeah, he looks like he's locked and loaded. A chain though, I mean, I just don't. What he's doing isn't sustainable, right? I was just looking at running backs points per game. He's like third. Yeah, sure, he's explosive, but he's probably going to be in a timeshare. It is a passing offense. He's a good. I think I would sell high, right? If you got him at the end of your draft, he's crushing it. I know Fantasy Road, they played him in the super flex position last week instead of a QB, and he put up like 24 points. So, running backs are like holding grains of sand in your hand. It's just slowly leaking out. If you can trade that sand for some solid cement, you just got to do it.
Yeah, it's just hard to find cement at this running back position. I mean,
yeah, that's true.
Like you're probably not happy unless you have Christian McCaffrey or who's number 2?
Most. I mean, yeah, Bijan,
yeah,
you're happy.
Bijan and McCaffrey. I feel like other than that, like Mostert's looking downhill. Kyron Williams, you're just hoping it sticks. And then Bijan, you can tell with the workload and everything that those 2 are hitting. But other than that, it's like you don't know what you got.
Yeah. That's why you want them punches and bunches, right? Get as many as you can and just stifle them in through the matchup. All right, we got a trade here. Is this Keith's brother, B Cork? Full PPR 10 team league. All right, trading away Josh Jacobs. I like that. Goddard and Nico Collins. Okay. And I'm getting Jamar Chase and Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm a big 10-team league. So you're giving up 3, you're getting 2. So that means the third guy in the wire you pick up might be a top 20th position. I couldn't be a bigger fan of this trade.
Yeah, I think you're buying low on both Chase and Gibbs there, which is kind of what you want to do. Goddard, you're probably selling low on, but whatever. It is what it is.
There's third option in a run-heavy offense.
Yeah, like the tight end position, it's more flat than I feel like we expected this year. I mean, Andrews, Hawkinson, and Kelsey are still at the top of points per game, but people are closer this year, which is good. And yeah, I mean, Chase is a stud. He's going to get the ball. His comments in the loss aren't wrong, where if you throw him the ball, he's always open.
Always effing open.
Yeah. It's a kid's show, But and then Jahmyr Gibbs, I feel like people are shying away from last week just because Montgomery got a bunch of touchdowns, but they drafted him for a reason. He's going to be used all season, and especially in this running back climate. I think I'd probably rather Jacobs over Gibbs full season, but I think it's a solid move to get Chase and Gibbs.
Oh my God, these dogs. Give me one. Good. Bring up this trade while I go kill one of my dogs.
So between Bijan Pickens for Amon-Ra and Calvin Ridley, 18 PPR. Normally I would, I guess their running backs are already studs. This is difficult.
All right.
I would 18 PPR is confusing just with the numbers.
18.
Yeah, but you already have Saquon and Kyron with Dameon Pierce as a backup. I think I'd probably go for the 2 wide receivers. You have 2 people that can maybe play over Bijan, but Bijan's by far the best option there, in my opinion.
I think in 18, I mean, to crack your starting rotation, they got to be almost a superstar.
Yeah.
So it's like I need best player in the trade, in that format, in my opinion.
But like with this trade, would you start? Like with this trade, you might start both Amon-Ra and Ridley, and you'd only start Bijan in one.
Metcalf, Waddle.
Because you have Saquon and Kyron, and then you have Metcalf, Waddle, and Pittman. I'm assuming 2 running back, 2 receiver, 1 flex. Like most likely both Amon-Ra and Ridley are starting if you make this trade, and then you still have Saquon and Kyron as your starters. So
yeah, it's tough.
I think it's a pretty easy one.
I would try and put Saquon in the trade instead of Bijan and go Saquon and Pickens. That's what I would go for.
I would agree with that. Yeah, just counter, see what happens. The other team probably is running back deficient. So
and
maybe
some people love Saquon.
Yeah,
I don't really know why, but he is a beast. But man, the Giants, Jesus, that game was an apocalypse last night.
Yeah, that didn't look good.
Okay, so you want to talk about tight ends?
Yeah, I feel like the position in the past, Kelsey and Andrews have been super valuable just because they have been far and away better than the rest of the crew, like the rest of the group. It's normally just been them and then the rest, and the rest haven't been very good. But I feel like with like Laporta's getting up there. Cole Kmet went off for 1 week, but I don't know where exactly that. Like, I don't know if you can put him up there, but like Evan Ingram's been consistent the whole time. He just hasn't scored a touchdown.
Yeah, Ingram looks great.
Yeah, I mean, I think Laporta's a stud. I actually think Ferguson is going to be on the up. I just think Dak always targets his tight ends. Waller hasn't done that well. I think he's improving. I just feel like the position as a whole is better, where you don't have as much of a positional advantage at having Andrews and Kelsey.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I think Laporta, we were talking about like buy highs. Like that's a guy. Yeah. I would go out, target him, pay the price, pay top dollar, whatever it takes, right?
One of my friends reached out to me. He's got Laporta and Andrews in a league I'm in with them. He's trying to trade one of them. What would you look for in that type of trade? Because I feel like a lot of people are kind of ending up with 2 tight ends that are valuable just because you've had people break out. Like, how do you even make a trade with the tight ends now? Would you keep Andrews in that, or would you keep Laporta?
I would trade whichever one I thought had more value. Right? If I can get more, because they're probably ranked about the same right now.
Yeah, they're pretty similar. Andrews played one less game, but Andrews has a little bit better points per game.
But Andrews probably's got a little bit more, name value. So, I'd find the team with the worst tight end, and then I'd try and take one of their second best wide receiver. Aim high, and then filter down. Because I know if it was me on the other hand, and I was starting, and I drafted Kyle Pitts, and I can get Mark Andrews, I'm going to do almost whatever it takes.
Yeah, and I almost feel like that's like a narrative to think about now when you're making trades is, I mean, Fields went off this week, but like if you had I have Jalen Hurts and Anthony Richardson in a league. I looked at the Fields owner to see, all right, if you drafted Fields, you most likely appreciate a rushing quarterback, and I have two. So like almost looking at the like who they drafted and where they kind of fit in what archetype, and seeing if you can. It's almost a way to get into your other opponent's heads of how do they think and where can I maybe get value out of them.
Yeah, no, for sure. Or it's just like every week I go and look at the bottom of the league, whoever's in last place, and I go, you know what? Maybe they're frustrated, they hate their team. You know, maybe they're going to do me a solid, and you know, I try and get their best player, and I give them two, you know, mediocre players, and you know, I hope to be that vulture.
Yeah.
But we're just talking about Fields. So this is Chicago's next games. They're playing Washington, Minnesota, Vegas, Chargers.
Yeah,
Those are four really bad defenses. The Fields can maybe start building some momentum.
I just think Denver's that bad. I really do. Like I don't he's a hold for me at the moment. Like you need to see more. Like Denver just gave up 70 and then they gave up 28 points to what was just a dumpster fire of a team. They still ended up winning that game somehow. Like the passing numbers looked awesome. Like you can't deny that. And he didn't even run that much, and you know he's going to run more. I think he's a hold. Like who would you trade him for? Would you?
I wouldn't trade Fields. I think you should target Fields.
Yeah. Who do you like more, Richardson or Fields?
Oh, Richardson. I'm a Richardson. I mean, I'm not
what about Stroud and Fields?
I mean, yeah. So,
like that's
I'd want to look at Houston's schedule, but like, I mean, Stroud's still in the wire in my league, but he's getting yards, but not the touchdowns, right? He has got 6 CDs through 4 games. He doesn't really run. He's not throwing picks, but you're getting like 270 yards and a touchdown. So, you know, what's he at? Maybe 15 points a game, probably something like that.
Yeah. Here's a fun one. Burrow or Fields?
I would probably have, if I have 2 QBs, I'd probably want Burrow and I'd stash him probably till the bye week. Because I'm still a big believer. And, you know, I trade for Chase and Leak because week 1 fantasy playoffs, Bengals are playing the Vikings. And you know, that's going to be 400 passing yards, 200 are going to Chase, and it's going to be bonanza, assuming the Bengals are still fighting for the playoffs. Oh, you idiot dogs. I'm close to, all right, so we got, what is this? Where does Taylor, oh, God. Is that a plant?
Yeah, just talking about all the memes of Taylor Swift, Swifties and their husbands, and versus Travis Kelce, because obviously Travis Kelce was nothing before Taylor Swift came around. Apparently,
I hadn't even heard of Taylor Swift before she started dating Kelce.
Exactly. But what are some like quote unquote buy lows that you're trying to sell out of? Like somebody who's not doing well, who people think might rebound, but you're just like, no, this guy's not coming back. I want off of him. Maybe I can convince someone this is a buy low.
I'd probably say any of the running backs who've been playing, 4 or 5 years, like I Mixon, Henry, Jacobs. I mean, Connor's been pretty good. Running backs they don't bounce back, right? Once it goes, it's gone. And some people just get enamored by the buy low, right? Like I do in fantasy basketball all the time. It's my favorite. But in football, it's hard to bounce back. You don't know what they're dealing with, secret injuries, dealing with them all season. Sometimes you just cut your losses. Like Joe Mixon. If I had Joe Mixon, I would trade him for.
He was one that I highlighted too. That offense scares me with Burrow. Like, I just want off of him.
Yeah, the thing is, when you're trying to do like a sell low, you can't do 1 for 1. Because then his value is just there. You got to package him with someone, and then maybe you kind of artificially inflate his value. Because like, well, if Mixon comes back, and then No,
I agree with that mindset too. One that stuck out to me that I don't know why I don't have a good feeling about him, but Ramondre Stevenson. that Patriots offense, I don't like where it's going. And I think Zeke has more of a role than people expected. And I find it difficult that Ramondre is going to be an RB2 that you can count on. And I think if you can get maybe one of the younger, like I would trade, people might call me dumb for saying this, but like I would take A-Chain over Ramondre. You can call me dumb on either end, but like I would take A-Chain over Ramondre.
That's like the most perfect hypothetical trade of all time, right?
Yeah. I think the upside's there. The offense is just way more attractive to me.
Yeah.
And maybe you can make that trade. I don't know. I feel like those two names are very polarized on either end.
I think I would take Ramondre in there, and I would just try and, just because I've been doing this a while, and I know, magic beans for, Ramondre's, the cow, It's just most of the time you want the cow. But yeah, Ramondre's still young. I mean, I don't trust Zeke. I know he got like 17 touches the other week, which blew me away. Then the Pats are a mess, but it's not like they're going to turn into a passing offense, right? That is not on the table.
Yeah.
But the O-line stinks. They just lost two of their best defenders. It's, I don't know. What do you think? Running backs on a sinking ship, like, because James Conner is pulling his weight.
That offense, like, I mean, this is more wide receivers, but like, I like that offense now. I just think it's done pretty well against 49ers and Cowboys, which are two of the better defenses in the league.
That's true.
Some of it's garbage, but like they might be in garbage all year long. So like that doesn't really change their futures, in my opinion. And maybe like I don't know if Kyler's coming back. Nobody does, but like I feel like their QB play is only going up, whether it's Josh Dobbs just getting more experience or Kyler coming back. So like Marquise Brown had a pretty good game this past week. He just a bunch of touches. He didn't score a touchdown. I think people might view him as a prototypical sell high. I might try to get that just because that offense is moving the ball, and I think a sell high might be like wide receiver 3 value, and I think he's going to provide that.
Okay, yeah. I mean, Cardinals are shocking everyone right now.
Yeah.
It's just the craziest thing is it's just defenses. I don't know, this year especially, it's just so unpredictable. Like the Rams, right? I think we all talk about the Rams. They're going to have a terrible D. And then, you look at anytime your team's playing the Rams, they got the red next to it. And they're like, the 28th worst team to go against.
Yeah. And I do think a lot like that red sign isn't always the best sign just based on who people are playing. But like, yeah, that Rams defense has looked better recently than people expected. But I think how do you feel about the 49ers offense? I am like Christian McCaffrey, obviously stud. Ayuk's been going off, but like the Ayuk Kittle Debo like combination kind of scares me because I just feel like it's a lottery pick on who is the guy each week.
But McCaffrey has it's like the lottery, but McCaffrey has all of the balls.
Yeah, it's like McCaffrey won the $1 billion Powerball, and then you're just hoping to like hit your power play.
Yeah. Well, as a longtime tight end enthusiast, George Kittle, when he had that 1,400-yard season, I drafted Kittle for 2 straight years, and he barely played. He never did anything, and ever since that, I'm George Kittle's like mortal enemy. So I would never target him in fantasy. I know he had like 12 touchdowns last year, but all he does is block. I think Ayuk is 100% viable. I mean, McCaffrey's 1 and 2, Ayuk's a 2A, and then Debo and Kittle are just like spare parts now, and they're not going to go off unless one of them goes out.
Yeah, I think Debo's been I'm kind of on the sell on him. I don't know if it's a sell high, a sell low, a sell middle. I just don't. He scares me. Ayuk seems to be the more preferred option between Purdy. Like, I feel like at the end of the year, Ayuk came on more last year too. Debo's still a great talent. the name value, I think you might be able to get a lot, and especially in the landscape we're in now, there's just a lot more wide receivers producing than running backs. So maybe you can parlay Debo's name value into a running back that you can start because
I was just gonna say, if you go sell low for sell low, so Debo or Jahmyr Gibbs.
I would take Gibbs strictly because the running back, it's hard to find a running back that you can feel comfortable starting as like an RB2. Like, I feel like most teams have one running back. It's like, all right, this guy, I don't feel the worst about starting. And then you have the rest is just like am I starting Gus Edwards or am I starting Justice Hill or am I starting like just a bunch of running backs in that area? Like Breece Hall has been scary to start. The Jets running back, like,
yeah,
I just feel like it's all kind of
carries.
Yeah.
Josh Jacobs or Debo?
I probably again the running back in Jacobs.
Okay. But we were talking about Gibbs. I don't think you can start Gibbs right now. He's not getting carries. He's not getting goal line carries. And so he's not really featured that much in the offense because Goff's throwing downfield like crazy. He's not checking down. You know, your floor is just way too low.
Yeah, and even with that said, he's like the running back 26 on the year.
Okay.
Like it's just difficult because like I agree it's not a fun start. And like somebody like, I mean, here, this person said Aaron Jones or Jahmyr Gibbs. Like, I guess Jones for now. And if you have that luxury and that you're choosing between those two, I would go Jones just because.
I think it's a no-brainer. Here, let me pull up the Packer. Let me watch Packers schedule next 4 games. Aaron Jones. Here we go. Okay, so they got Vegas, right? Great. Bye. Yeah. Then Denver, Minnesota, and then Rams, Pittsburgh, Chargers, right? You just got 6 juicy matchups in a row.
Yeah.
You know, Aaron Jones might be one of the top 5 buy low guys in the league too.
Yeah, that might be a good like buy low, let him hit, and then sell. Like,
yeah,
get off of him after a few weeks. Like, I think that's another thing is like it doesn't have to be a rest of the season trade. You see 2-3 weeks that you like, get somebody for those 2-3 weeks, and then just start selling. Ideally, you can keep parlaying these people into somebody better, or just maybe you have Aaron Jones and a few wide receivers go down on your team, then you just get him into a wide receiver. Like,
yeah, people. It's really hard trading in fantasy football, so you can't really just throw out a trade to a random team. You got to pick a team that just lost a big running back and then needs a team in need, or a team that's losing and needs an influx of talent and was willing to sell somebody who's underperforming, right? You got to be able to meet each other in the middle somewhere, right? You can't just target the first place team and be like, hey, do you want to trade me Travis Kelce? Because he's never going to do it.
Yeah, it's finding the right time to sneak one in there, and it's not to say taking advantage of a situation, but like, this is basketball. It's not it doesn't relate as much, but like Kevin Porter Jr. had legal trouble. I sent an offer for him right away that included a 1st-round pick, and the guy sent me over a 1st-round pick. It's like, I'll take that on for a 1st-round pick, and I think the first is more valuable down the line. I just think it's like you take advantage of some news cycle, and then you send something out, and maybe they overreact, maybe they don't. Maybe you're on the right side, maybe you're on the wrong side. But if you just have a nice strategy of this is what I'm doing and when I'm doing it, I think it's a good, like, you just stick to the strategy and you'll end up ahead in the long run.
Yeah. You're like the oh god, what's the movie with the stock market and they just bet against people and like disasters?
The Big Short.
Yeah, The Big Short.
Yep.
I love that movie. Okay, I was actually just going to pivot to this. What are you going to do if you're 0-4? So let's see. I'm 0-4, so time to look to next year. So I assume it's Dynasty. Would you move Swift, $4.6 million to, oh man, this is going to be dense, and Metcalf or Dotson for the chain, and one of Tank Dell or Marvin Mims? So he's talking DeAndre Swift, Metcalf, Dotson.
Jahan Dotson. I would, yeah. I'm like, when I tank, I tank. Like, I just don't. There's no point in being in the middle, in my opinion. Like, I would say yes, do this. I think you're definitely selling high on Swift. I just like Miles Sanders looked like a stud, top 10 back behind that offensive line. I think Swift is more talented than Sanders, but like that offensive line also makes him look really good. Maybe Swift tries to parlay that into more money in his pocket down the line. If so, great. Metcalf, that's kind of the one that you're hurting to give up on. And I like Tank Dell. I think he's a fun player. I would probably do that. What about yourself?
I mean, 0-4, like you got to look in the mirror, but just look at points scored, points against, right? Mm-hmm. If you're, I don't know, 14-team league, 8 make the playoffs. Oh, we didn't hype the draft guide at all. Crap. And like, let's say if you're top 8 in points scored and, you're the team, one of the 3 teams that got the most points scored against you, maybe it's just bad luck, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe you give it one more week, you go one, you're going to have to go on a run at some point. But if you believe in your team, I mean, you got Swift, he's a monster. Metcalf's going to be taken off. I don't, whatever the building blocks of that team is.
Plus, I think it kind of depends on your QB.
Yeah, right. But it's, and also there's lots of time to tank, right? You can still tank in a couple of weeks. The price of the guys is just going up, right? So I'd try and hold in for one more week, and maybe if you win, go 1-4. If you go 2-4, then maybe you try and trade to compete. Sneak into the playoffs, and then anything can happen.
Agreed. And I guess with that, we can close with who would you take? Who would you take between Dell and Mims? I like Dell.
I like Mims. I don't even think it's close.
I just think Dell has a better QB moving forward.
True. But
that's kind of my mindset in a dynasty standpoint. But
like Mims is putting up crazy numbers on just like no snaps, right?
Yeah.
If you just extrapolate his target share into playing, because they're going to have to play him. Then he might be the best player on the Broncos. He's just Matt deep threat. Wilson loves the deep ball in theory. I think Mims is just absolutely primed to explode. So, I mean, Tank Dell, great name. Marvin Mims, also great name. Give me Mims. Do we accept non-trade questions? I guess so.
Depends.
Yeah, is there a qualifier?
But yeah, I mean, also just kind of while we're waiting for the questions to come in, buy the All Sport Fantasy Pass. Not only do you get to talk to us on football, there's hockey division coming up if you're into hockey. Baseball division did well, and then basketball just came out with the new pretty sweet draft tracker where you can kind of put in the names while you're drafting, and it gives you like people to target based on what you're missing in categories wise. It's an awesome deal. I don't even think it's $10 yet a month. I just go buy that, and you can talk to us about football. We both dabble in basketball.
I'm more than dabble.
Yeah, you can talk to other experts in basketball, hockey, and baseball. It's a great deal to go with.
I'm just waiting on this Cameron being non-trade question. But yeah, Draft Tracker is great because I love when you're doing the draft and you're kind of distracted, and then Yahoo will have like the little crappy one, and then you'll see that like you're projected last place in rebounds and blocks. So you just pivot. It's just really helpful to just make sure you're balanced and not overextended. All right, drop is essentially a trade. All right, are you dropping any of these for Tyler Boyd? Probably not. Drake London, Elijah Moore, Marvin Mims, JSN, Zay Jones. I guess Boyd because Higgins might be out. That's what you're thinking. He slides into wide receiver 2. Thank you. 14 team full PPR. Okay, that's important.
I like Elijah Moore.
I mean, love Elijah Moore, love Mims, love JSN. I don't know how long Zay's going to be out for.
Well, for dropping, I like dropping Elijah Moore. London, in a 14-team league, like he has the talent. It's a,
'It's a lottery ticket each week, but if it hits, great.
lottery ticket each week, but if it hits, great.
'It's a lottery ticket each week, but if it hits, great. 'It's a lottery ticket each week, but if it hits, great. 'It's a lottery ticket each week, but if it hits, great. 'It's a lottery ticket each week, but if it hits, great. 'It's a lottery ticket each week, but if it hits, great. 'It's a lottery ticket each week, but if it hits, great. 'It's a lottery ticket each week, but if it hits, great. 'It's a lottery ticket each week, but if it hits, great. 'It's a lottery ticket each week, but if it hits, great. 'It's a lottery ticket each week, but if it hits, great. 'It's a lottery ticket each week, but if it hits, great. 'It's a lottery ticket each week, but if it hits, great. 'It's a lottery ticket each week, but if it hits,
that's kind of a mine I'd want to get off of in a trade, not cut. Somebody will like him as like a throw into a trade more. I wouldn't cut him.
Tyler Boyd doesn't excite me. I mean, he's going to be 60 yards, maybe 4 grabs, and maybe he gets a TD. Plus, Burrow's not really operating yet. I'm not jumping off the bandwagon for Tyler Boyd.
You wouldn't drop any of those guys for him?
I mean, Zay Jones, I guess, probably.
Yeah.
JSN
isn't doing anything right now. Like, if it weren't for him being the #1 rookie wide receiver drafted, I would say him all along. And if you don't have any type of keeper rules too, I might drop JSN and hope someone else picks him up, and then they have to deal with the bad weeks each week. But I think Zay Jones is probably the move.
Yeah, don't drop JSN. That's our last piece of info. Whatever Brian said, ignore him. Do not drop JSN. He is coming.
Yeah, it's just he's difficult to wait on. But
don't start him though. Don't start him.
No, do not.
Okay, I guess with that we're off. Next week we will be here, same time, same channel, same place, same people.
Indeed.